Today, by popular demand, we're taking a look at the Buddhist deity Enma. We're going to take a look at its origins, portrayals in Japanese culture, and we're also going to be taking a look at several exemplary traditional Japanese tattoos. Enma, also known as King Yama, is the Buddhist god of hell. He is the one who judges who goes to heaven and who goes to hell. In his place of judgment, there is a special mirror, the clear crystal mirror, or Johari no Kagami, which records the deeds of the deceased for judgment. And these deeds are shown in the mirror so that those being judged can trick Enma. Enma is usually depicted as having red skin, an angry stare, wearing traditional Chinese attire, a headpiece with a character for king, or O, and holding a mace through which he hands out judgment. He is popularly depicted accompanied by Oni and creatures of hell, and there are many very big statues of Enma throughout Japan. Having gained a high-level understanding of King Enma, let's dive into traditional Japanese tattoos featuring this Buddhist god of hell. The first composition we're taking a look at is by the Tokyo-based Houryu. Here we see Houryu's signature style in display, the limited color palette, which is very much in line with the very traditional way of Japanese tattooing before the industry standard inks were introduced to the island. And here we see Enma, mace in hand, headpiece with the character for king on his head, and accompanied by Oni. This is a very cool piece because it's done in a traditional Japanese manner, and Enma is also represented very traditionally. You usually see Enma exactly like this, with the headpiece, with the character of king on his head, with the traditional Chinese attire, with the mace in hand, flames around him, and of course, Oni accompanying him. So this is a very traditional piece all around. This next composition is by the Australia-based Dan Molloy, who we actually had a video interview with, so I encourage you to check that interview out so you can learn more about Dan Molloy, his style, and the extremely good compositions that he's turning out. In this particular Enma composition, we can see that it's similar to the previous tattoo that we saw by Houryu, but that is to be expected because, again, this is a very traditional depiction of Enma. Here we see Enma with Dan Molloy's own flair, again, headpiece with the character king. We see actually a dragon in some of his clothing, mace in hand, flames around him, Oni, and you can also see the details in the Oni, the animal skin that they're wearing. You can see the leaves that are red, which is in synergy with the entire composition. And this is one of those great pieces that you can see from afar. You can tell what it is, and you can tell that it's very powerful. This third composition is by the Tokyo-based Edomitsu II, and this is a very cool composition because we can see scenes from hell. We see Enma with a very colorful, traditional Chinese attire with mace in hand, but we also see the guardians of hell as well, the ox head and horse face, Gozu and Mezu. You can see them doing their job, right? And slaying what we can assume were some naughty spirits, if you will. This is an awesome composition that is exquisitely executed in the Muniwari style because on one side, you have Enma with his desk, with his mace, and with this fierce gaze. And then on the other side, you have Gozu and Mezu doing their job and just punishing these naughty spirits. The fourth and last composition that we're taking a look at is by the Niigata-based Tomo. Here we see a modern style, and you can see Enma potentially meting out judgment. There's a lot going on in this composition. You see Enma with all the traditional attire we have mentioned already multiple times, but then you also see a lot of details in the clothing, a lot of beautiful patterns, and many figures supporting Enma in his meeting of judgment. You see some spirits just bowing down to Enma. You see some supporting characters or roles. You can even see his desk with a couple of things on it. It's a very interesting piece, and it's very cool to see this very rich, modern reinterpretation of Enma. Now, to wrap things up, in this video we talked about Enma, the Buddhist god of hell, a god who, rather than representing evil, represents righteous judgment. And we also walk through 4 traditional Japanese tattooing compositions, all depicted in very different styles, and all featuring Enma in his fierce glory. I hope you found this clip useful. If you would like to see more figures covered, specific themes related to traditional Japanese tattoos or culture, or even interviews with certain horishi, drop me a line, let me know, and we'll get to it. Thank you very much for watching. Check out the Waboripedia book if you haven't already. If you haven't already subscribed, do subscribe, and stay tuned for more.